Well, I'm Bart Rademacher, and this is Transformational Art at Burning Man. And really excited today because I get to interview in the most amazing group of people across the lake, as I call it, back in Europe, where I'm actually from. And for those who don't know me, I'm actually a Dutchman. I was born in Holland but live in the United States.
Cool.
But here's the coolest thing about this interview, and this is particularly exciting for us burners. This is my third burn. Is here's the guy who's got tremendous talent, who is inviting us to go in this space that is epitomizes essentially what Burning Man is all about, but also that part of life that we need to go into, and that's the life of discovery. And so the coolest thing that we get to experience is that he's inspiring us as a first burner, mind you, coming across the Atlantic with his entire team and this huge, art installation. How much courage is that? It's just unbelievable. And so that we get to enjoy the magic of what he has created for us. And so I'm super excited to be talking to Marc and his team A2 Design Studio Design and
Yes.
his project Fragments. So
Thank you
he's
so
got
much for
some
having me.
yeah, he's got some really cool things that he was going to share with us, really in line as a virgin burner. What's going to be important for all of us. So thank you, Marc.
Thank you so much for having me, and thanks for that beautiful introduction. I wanted first to say that um, this whole project would not have been possible without the amazing team that I have behind me. Of course, I have the opportunity to sign the piece, which is absolutely great. But it's truly a team effort, and my studio ATO Designs is truly the force that have been allowing me to create this and to be able just to make it happen. So it's truly a team effort, and I think that resonates a lot with what I believe the spirit of Burning Man is. It's not only about the individual. Of course, the individual is there, but it's also what you create with a group of people. So yeah.
Yeah, spot on. And for somebody who hasn't been to Burning Man, I mean, you get it right away. And what I love about the whole experience of the art at Burning Man, it is a community effort, but it's also interactive. And I love the concept that you're bringing to us as to what Fragments is all about. So share with us, this beautiful idea that you and your team have created so that we get to enjoy. So describe to us what it's all about.
So the fragments artwork, first of all, comes from a legend that supposedly existed long time ago on the Black Rock Desert. And this legend says that ages ago, a giant gave a goddess a magic mirror that allowed him to see into the future. Of course, frightened by what he could foresee, decided to break the mirror, and the fragments of the mirror, the shards of the mirror, fell down from the sky to the ground and landed on the desert floor. Of course, millennia passed, and the sand started to cover the remains, the fragments. When man came along, the site was rediscovered, and it became a temple. And it is said that now, if you climb the highest shard at sunrise, you'll be able to see your future. And so this piece is inspired by a true story, a legend that I think resonates with everybody, because everybody is a bit of a dreamer, and that's also the whole purpose of doing art, is that you dream of something, and then it exists, and then you continue this vision. And so that's basically the starting point, is that we heard about, we kind of also created a bit this legend, and then based on that, we designed this art piece with in mind the goal to actually being able to bring in people, to bring in a community of artists, but also uh, everyday burner or pretty much anyone that would come to the site and have an experience. And this experience for me is truly about self-discovery. It's about meditation. It's about also having, we were talking about that before, having a sense of what beauty is, because in the site, right, which is completely a desert. As I told you, I've had the chance to actually visit the site before the event. So I kind of, even if I will be a complete virgin, I kind of know slightly what's the vibe there, and it's quite magical. But so when you bring in an artwork which is completely minimalist, which does not reflect nature, right? You still find a sense of beauty, and that paradox, for me, it's also what I wanna show is that beauty is everywhere. So it's a journey. It's a place of meditation, a place where the community, sorry, congregates, but it's also a place where I hope people will find beauty and will find emotions.
So let me ask you this question because when you see art pieces, and this is one of the challenges, and this is why I like to do these interviews, is
Mm-hmm.
that you don't always have everybody has their own idea and perspective of what the art really is all about, but we don't always know the purpose. And so my question for you, are you going to have people there at the installation kind of explaining it a little bit, or is it really up to us, as we approach it, to figure out, okay, this is a process of self-discovery, and there is beauty here too.
Yeah, exactly like you said. I find most interesting that people create their own stories. I think, I mean, some artists, of course, in their creative process, the artwork that is made kind of needs to have a specific meaning, a specific story, a specific background, and that is through this background that the artwork can really exist. It's not the case here. Here, with the artwork Fragments, what we are doing is truly what we wish basically is to people to create their own story. So it will be quite simple. We will have panels with a legend, like the one I told you, slightly longer maybe, and that's it. And I just hope that with people reading the text and actually seeing the artwork with the different times of the day, right, which would be completely different. If you come there at sunrise, of course, you'll have the full experience with the sun rising right in the middle of the stairs. But if you come at sunset, it will be completely different. The colors will change. The finishes of the artwork will look completely different. So you'll have a completely different experience. Also, with the number of people which are on the artwork will make the experience change. If it's crowded, that will be a completely different vibe, super energetic. If you're there by yourself, come on, I'm sure meditation will come to your mind instantly because the site is made for that. So it's really about what you want to create and not what neither I nor the legend will tell you. It's just about how you interpret it.
Yeah, I love the idea, and I already can envision it. Me walking there, and so you have this static, piece, but the whole experience is dynamic because of the
Yes.
changing of the sun, the clouds, the wind, the people,
Yes.
and different fragments. And so, yes, I think definitely a sense of self-discovery happens because as you move around, you begin to experience different parts of it,
Of
and
course.
and then getting you into that place of meditation. That's brilliant. I love it.
Of course. And it was also something quite important decision in the creative process was when we decided not to add any music, not to add any type of sound.
Mhm.
We were originally working on maybe having kind of a soundscape piece to be played, and talking also with, because what I should say before is that I haven't been to Burning Man yet, but a lot of my friends have been burners since quite a number of years, and they've been really pushing me, and they've been really saying, okay, this is something you need to experience. And it was something in my head that, has been there for quite some time, and now it's happened. So I'm feeling really, really blessed that, we made it possible. But also, this is the context. So through the discussion with those people, those experienced burners, making this decision of having no sound was to me very relevant, because they said Burning Man is about what you see, what you perceive with your heart, but also what you perceive with your ears. Of course, there are, the sound of the desert, which is pure silence. When you get there, there's no noise. It's actually your ear is not used to that. When I live in Paris, and I travel a lot, and of course you have noise everywhere. And when you come to the site like that, you truly discover the meaning of silence. And of course, I'm not saying it will be completely silence. Obviously, the event is full of everything, but you have that feeling of this particular tone that silence plus very distant noises makes to your ear. And I hope that this soundscape that will be naturally created by just the Burning Man event by itself and the location will be a great way to actually allow people to dive in themselves. And this is why we didn't use sound, because it will be the sound of Burning Man and your own sound. So
Right.
that's the idea.
No, I think that's very clever, because
I don't know if it will work though. So
well, no, I think it will, and because truly, if the essence of what it is that you're creating can be easily distracted by other things, and so I think the focus is on the mirrors and the fragments and that experience. I will say this, the Burning Man is a very noisy event.
Yeah,
so you'll find
we're quite deep, Playa, though. So
okay, all right.
When we are talking with Burning Man support services and trying to choose the location, that's the discussion also we have in relation to what I just told you with this decision of using no sound. We went quite deep, Playa, for that reason.
Okay,
Because it
great.
would be quite silent. I mean, hopefully, right? But I don't know. That would be a discovery.
No, there will be definitely times when it's relatively quiet, probably like early in the morning.
Yes.
But then you have like the Mayan warrior, which is this great,
Huge sound car, right?
Yeah, sound car. And they also go deep in the playa. They do the sunrise thing and everything else. So, whatever happens, happens. And like you said, I mean, it's everybody's individual experience, and just the idea of what this is, I think it's beautiful. And I'm particularly excited that we're doing this interview is to get the word out, because sometimes, stuff in the deep playa gets a little missed by people. And having this advertisement, like go to the playa, go on this journey of self-discovery, and then the meditation, that'll be awesome. And quite frankly, with a lot of the music happening over, at sunrise, people will be able to find your installation quite easily, because
I hope so.
they'll have that time to meditate. Let's get grounded again from all the music.
Of course.
So I have a question for you. So you explained a little bit about the story that led up to all of this, but what's the real inspiration for you behind this creative work?
Well, I've always been fascinated by mythical stories, legend. I've always been a big fan of ancient Egypt, for example, which obviously you can see in the work. But so myth and legend have always been a big inspiration in my work, and I think that relates to from bedtime stories that my mother used to read me, which obviously is a strong inspiration. When you're a young kid, you hear about all this myth and all these gods and this legend, and it makes something to you. You create instantly a whole universe in your brain. And then when I grew up and I started to get into art, I found out about all these amazing artists that use a minimalist form to create artwork that I think relates to those temples, those sites that I was envisioning when I was a kid. I would say maybe Richard Serra is one of my biggest inspiration. in the way that he creates those huge monoliths, those massive pieces that are just so minimal. They can look a bit dull, but as you approach them, just the sheer weight of it creates a feeling that for me is absolutely overwhelming and almost alien. and yeah, that's basically the inspiration for the work.
I love it. I love it.
Mm.
So I have two more questions because we're gonna want to keep this under 20 minutes so that people stay engaged. So it takes a lot of courage, just to bring an installation to Burning Man. And typically, a lot of people, I think, do a few burns before they muster the courage to do it. But you're doing this completely blind. So my question for you: do you have any particular concerns, and perhaps any particular requests that anybody listening in can say, "Hey, you know what? I got an answer for this."
Well, again, I mean, I'm not by myself doing that. I would not probably have the courage to do that by myself. It's truly a team effort, and my studio is 200% behind me. They've been truly the architects, the producers, the planners, the managers of all this whole journey, and without them, this would have not been possible. So of course, I'm a virgin burner, so that's going to be quite interesting to actually confront what I envision and the reality of what is Burning Man. But I'm also a bit fearless. I mean, I believe that with correct planning, you can make great things happen. And so I don't have any fears. I'm just really eager to discover. I'm totally willing to let the peace and myself go with the flow, because I've also understood that I'm a bit of a control freak. So that's, something that would be getting out of also my comfort zone. And I understood by talking with experienced burner that it's not only about what you want people to relating to your previous question, what you want people to understand and what's the concept and what you want them to feel. No, you should let them have it. And I should also try to just be fine with everything that happens. So I'm pretty confident about what my experience can be. I think it would just be something that I don't expect. Right. And apart from that, I mean, we're still waiting for. I mean, we are wishing to actually bring in as many people as we can for our daily ceremonies. This is something I think that's important to say, is that every day at sunrise we'll have a ceremony, a procession basically of high priests that will have 6-meter long poles with a dusting fluffy thing at the end to basically clean the mirrors.
Nice.
That's important, right? I mean, if you have playa dust and mirrors, that right. So we'll have a procession every morning to clean the mirrors, and then we'll have a small ceremony at sunrise. And I'm actually hoping to bring in as many people as we can every day, pretty much 5:30, 5:45, depending on what's the time the sun rises. So you out there that are listening or viewing, if you want to join in, please go to fragmentsarts.org, and there's a small form that you can fill in, and I'll be more than happy to join you guys with the procession and bringing that community. Basically that's it. We also need volunteers for the build, but that's every artwork needs that. And yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Yeah, if you can add that information at the bottom of this interview, so that people can get that and any updates, and hopefully we'll connect before the burn happens, yes. So we can also share the updates.
One last topic that my producer is actually trying to tell me: this artwork is financed, as you know, by Burning Man, as I'm very grateful to be a honorary recipient. they actually they are funding quite a large part of the artwork, about a bit less than 20%, which is huge, right? But and we also made a crowdfunding.
Great.
But any contribution, small or big, to allow us basically to make the artwork even better will be so much appreciated. Basically, what we are currently looking at financially is that we have a base budget. All that is described in the Indiegogo campaign crowdfunding page that we've released. We have a base budget, and any contribution will actually allow us to push the piece slightly further. We're talking about adding more LED, adding more interactive control, maybe choosing slightly better finish for the artwork, making it slightly taller or having more shards. So any contribution will be much appreciated. And I know there's a lot of artwork at Burning Man that needs support, but if you guys could help us out and actually give even a little something, that will be, I'll be so grateful.
Well, count me in for that for sure.
Thank you so
And
much.
again, I mean, to be perfectly honest with everyone, part of my purpose here with these interviews is not only to bring up that awareness of the installations, but also to help all the art installations get the support, whether it's just physical, labor, community, whatever ideas, but also financial support. Because one thing is very clear is that bringing these installations, especially coming all the way from Europe, it's a very costly business. And I
Yes.
think, it's a great way for us, the whole concept of gifting is huge. And the wonderful gift that we get is the magic that you create within us because of what you've delivered on the playa. And so I feel very strongly, that, we can also help you, gift you back. I know it's financial, which is what we're not supposed to be doing in Burning Man, but that's only in the playa. Beforehand, the crowdfunding, that's a critical part. And so I'll do a shout out to everyone. Says, look, help us out.
Thank you
And
so much.
and my hope is that we get a lot of exposure on this. So
Thank you so
anyhow,
much.
Mark, and as part of an amazing team that you have behind you, and it's wonderful to hear that, and I hear that from all the artists that they recognize all the hard work of everyone else, and so I want to thank you for today, and want to give you the last word.
Thank you so much, and thank you for making this. Thank you for raising awareness around what we're trying to create. I think it's through those initiatives that any project can actually grow from a small team in a small office in Paris to a beautiful artwork in the middle of the Nevada desert. And I think this whole journey, this whole story, what you're doing now it's truly about what we are trying to, what we're all, when I want to say we, is that we are all trying to accomplish, that we are bringing small initiatives together and allowing a great experience to be possible. So thank you again for doing that, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely, my pleasure, my gift to the playa. And I'm Dr. Bart Rademacher for Transformational Art at Burning Man, and bringing to you the amazing talents so that we can experience the magic of enhancing the horizons of our own imagination. Mark, thank you so much for today.
Thank you very much. See you on the playa.
See you in the playa.